So how do you plan to have a great year? Not just plan to get everything done that you want to get done, which is important and can feel amazing, but how can you actually make a plan that you enjoy following through on and a plan that you like living so that you actually enjoy 2018? That's what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to Explore Your Enthusiasm with me, Tara Swiger. This is episode 187. Today we're going to talk about how to actually think about the planning process and how to get into the planning process so that you create a year you're really going to enjoy and not just a year where you check a bunch of things off your checklist. Because it is both important to reach the goals that you have set, to create the kind of business and life that you want to create, and to enjoy living in it. What's the point of building a business that is amazing if you don't enjoy living it all through it? Because here's the thing, there's never going to be a deadline. There's never going to be a moment where it all ends. I mean, until you die, that you feel like, oh, I've reached it. I can stop now. The actual journey of building a business is building a business. That is what it is. You'll always be working on it. You'll always be changing. You'll always be growing. You'll always be setting new goals. So let's go about reaching those goals in a way that actually feels good while we're doing it, because that's 100% of what building a business is. So I've got just a couple tips for you today as you sit down to do your 2018 planning. I know this episode comes out kind of mid-December, so you're probably just starting to think about planning for the new year. So first up, think about how you want to feel. How do you want to feel this year? How do you want to feel while you're working on your goals? How do you want to feel as you reach your goals? How do you want to feel? So Danielle Laporte has a book called The Desire Map, and it's entirely about identifying the feelings you want to feel when you live the life you want to live. And this is so important for coming up with your goals, is to really think about not just what it'll be like when you reach the goal, but how it will feel while you're doing it. Because here's the thing, if you've set a goal that makes you feel stressed and overwhelmed and pressured the entire time you're trying to get to it, there's no goal satisfying enough that'll all be worth it. You want to, as you're working towards it, be enjoying your life, because otherwise you can't keep up. You can't keep going. And what I want for you guys is a really long, sustainable, enjoyable business. And you're going to get there by actually going about your goals and your hopes and your dreams in a way that feels the way you want to feel when you reach it. So do you want to feel enthusiastic? That's a big one for my business. Do you want to be having fun? Do you want to feel joyful? Do you want to feel light? Do you want it to feel easy? How do you want it to feel? If you could feel anything, how do you want it to feel 2018? Maybe 2017 was a really rough year and it felt really dark or hard or like a slog. So you want 2018 to feel light or joyful or easy. Or maybe 2017 was absolutely amazing and you want more of that. You want more connection and expansion. How do you want to feel? In my book, Map Your Business, this is one of the questions that we dive into when we actually plan out how, like, your next goal, the next vision for your business. So Map Your Business walks you through thinking about the big picture, where you are now, what you actually have built, and then where do you want to go and how do you want to feel, and what are the tangible and intangibles that you want to get in your dream business and in your dream life. And then it helps you break it down into actual next steps. What is your plan for the next 3 months? We call that map making. You make a map full of the actions you're going to take in the next 3 months, and then you review every month if you're getting closer to it or you're not getting closer to it. And one of the key things is, how do you want to feel as you're working towards it? So right now, as you're listening, you can start writing down, how do you want to feel? Even if you're not clear about what goal you're going to try to hit in the new year, maybe you haven't done your new year planning yet, start writing down the feelings you want to feel. You can bring these feelings into your planning itself. So if you want to feel light and joyful, how could you sit down and plan your year and plan your goals in a light and joyful way? So inside the Starship, my online community, we do map making every quarter, and we do figuring out the big picture stuff. We call Chart Your Stars at the beginning of every year. And every year people are like, oh, I've really been putting this off. I don't really know if I want to do this. I'm feeling really overwhelmed. So I ask, how do you want to feel when you're actually doing the planning? Like, maybe you go, I love to go to the coffee shop. I get a big, fancy, sweet coffee like I never drink, and a fancy cookie, and I, wear all the essential oils that make me feel good, like passion or motivate. And then I sit down and I journal a lot, and I dream, and I think big picture. A lot of people get out their markers or their colored pencils, and they start sketching and drawing. Other people get nuzzled into their bed, read a good book for a while, and then sit down with their journal and start thinking about it. whatever it is you want to feel, bring that into the planning process, because you're going to be generating those feelings, which are going to help you come up with more things that'll generate those feelings. If you're feeling bummed or stressed or overwhelmed, it's really hard to think of how you would create a joyful year because you're in the middle of feeling bummed and stressed and overwhelmed, right? It feels like extra hard to imagine feeling good if you're in the middle of feeling crappy. So first, go feel good, and then sit down and plan in the middle of that feeling good. Maybe you're in a park and you're outside in the sunshine, or you're by the ocean and you're watching the ocean. Whatever makes you feel like you want to feel in your new year, bring that into your planning. So list the feelings, bring that into your planning. Next up, make a list of the things that make you feel that way. Maybe they're entirely unrelated to your goal. Maybe sitting by the ocean makes you feel that way, and your goal is to sell 1,000 books or products. But could you sit by the ocean each day or once a month as you work towards that goal? Could you maybe work by the ocean? You see what I'm saying? Like, there are ways that you could reach your goal while integrating the ways you want to feel. So start a list, pick your feeling, then start a list of all the things that make you feel that way. How would you feel? What would make you feel this way? And don't worry how they integrate with your work. Don't worry what this has to do with creating your New Year plan. Don't worry, just make a list. And I promise you, by creating this list, you'll start to generate ideas for how it could fit into your workday. Maybe you're going to make your workday more chill. Maybe you're going to wear more sweatpants when you work. Maybe flip that. You want to feel confident and connected. So instead, you're going to get dressed each day and you're going to put on makeup, do your hair, and then sit down to work. Maybe you're going to go work at the coffee shop versus working home alone. Maybe you're going to flip that, and instead of going out to work, you're going to stay into work. Whatever it is, generate these ideas of ways you can feel that feeling. And then I want you to, as you start to get into actually looking at your goals for the new year, if you're using Map Your Business, as you're getting more and more specific, this is really important. I want you to narrow it down. We all have 500 million things we want to do each year. I usually make a list of, I try to hit 100, but I usually come up with a list of about 75 things I want to do. This is the important part. They're not all equally important. Pick one thing that if you accomplish it, you will feel the way you want to feel. One thing that is big enough that you will be so freaking proud of it. And one thing that is going to take your life more in the direction of where you want it to go, and commit to that one thing. Now, you're going to do 75 million things in your year. You are going to have adventures and make the projects you want to make and make the friends you want to make. But by narrowing it down, you're going to really be able to focus your energy on making that thing happen and feeling the way you want to feel. So this is every time we do map making, which is every quarter. So a couple people say, I don't want to make a map for one goal. I want to make like a map for 3 goals. No, if you have 3 goals, none of them are a priority. It's fine. You can have a couple things going on at a time. Like if you have a craft show in 2 weeks and then you have a deadline on a pattern 6 weeks after that, then yeah, those are 2 projects you're working towards. But if we are talking about hitting a certain sales number, hitting a certain income level, hitting a certain rank in your essential oil business, those things, you can't do those and also another big goal. You can make everything like your projects line up towards that goal, right? Like your craft show and your pattern getting published all line up towards your specific income goal. Those are all points on the path to lead you there. But the big goal is the thing that they're all leading up to that's going to get you closer to feeling the way you want to feel and get you closer to having the business you want to have. Now, if you hear me say commit to just one goal and you're like, no, I can't do it, there's no way I can do it, then don't. That's totally fine. You are totally allowed to go about your goals in the way you most want to go about them. But in my experience, it is really hard to commit to multiple things, so none of them get your full attention. And it is really hard to hit your goals unless you are fully all in, ready to do whatever the heck you have to do, short of hurting people or breaking the law, to make them happen. When you get fully committed and it's the only thing on your plate, so you don't have any other way of distracting yourself, they happen much, much faster. And I myself have fought against this forever. I was actually just looking at my journals that are here, my old journals. I have one from 2012, and it says, do I keep going with Blonde Chicken Boutique, my yarn company, or do I go all in on help for creative businesses? And I debated that for over a year. And what I found is that I didn't hit any of my goals in either business until I went all in on one. Because anytime I would start to be working on one and a fear or a block or a worry would come up, I would distract myself with the other. And I would get some progress on that, momentum on that, and then I would get freaked out that it was going too fast, that it was getting too big, that it was too wonderful, and I would focus on the other. And then I would like scale one down so I could work on the other, then I'd scale this one down so I could work on the other. And for some people, that's exactly how they want to work. They want to have multiple projects going, they want to move back and forth, but you're going to see slower progress. And so if you want faster progress to an immediate goal, narrow it in. So those are some tips for planning a really fabulous new year that you actually enjoy. Think about how you want to feel. Make a list of the things that make you feel that way. Oh, and here's the thing. That list, you can do it while you're planning, like we talked about. Actually do the things that make you feel that way while you're in the middle of planning. You can also make a list. I have in the front of my Filofax a list of power-ups. Things that give me energy. They're basically all the things that make me feel enthusiastic and silly and fun and connected. When I'm feeling low, I do those things. If I'm having a hard time working towards my goal, I do one of those things. It makes it much easier for me to go forward. And then pick a thing you really, really, really want and commit to it. Make this the year that you go all in, that you don't tell yourself, well, I'll build slow and steady. Make this the year that you're like, you know what? I'm all in. I'm completely in. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going for it. And I'm not going to distract myself with a bunch of other stuff. Last year, we talked about around this time that you could make 2017 the year of consistency. And a lot of you became so much more consistent with your marketing efforts and your communication efforts. And I love that. I really think that next year, this coming year, 2018, is the year we go all in. We've gotten consistent. We've worked out what we want. It's time to make it happen. And by the way, when I say all in, it doesn't mean you're throwing your family aside. It doesn't mean that you're working 80 hours a day. Lord knows. I definitely don't. It means that you are saying, I'm willing to do what it takes to reach this goal. I'm willing to scare myself. I'm willing to do things that are overwhelming and that I seem like beyond me. I'm willing to figure it out. I'm willing to become the kind of person who is the person who has done whatever this goal is. So I want you to write that down. I'm willing to become the kind of person who has, and then fill out what your goal is. And commit to that each day. Each day it's a new commitment. We are about to take a 2-week break here on the podcast. I'll be back the very first week in January to talk more about the wonders that 2018 is going to be for your business. I would love to hear what you'd like me to cover in the new year. We'll do a Q&A episode here soon, but just shoot me a message. I'm Tara Swiger on Instagram, and share your own feelings that you want to feel with an Instagram post. Use the hashtag #ExploreYourEnthusiasm and let me know. I hope you have an enthusiastic day and a really fabulous end of this year and beginning of the next.